What's up? This will be real quick. This is just to let people know to stop getting trolled by memes that are just trying to get attention. These Centoya Brown memes are dishonest. If you read these memes, and I've heard of this case a while ago, so the moment I saw it, I'm like, oh no, oh no. Well, hopefully it gets attention, but could it just be honest? I mean, they're dishonest for a good cause, I guess. Excuse me. Oh man. Because she shouldn't have been tried as an adult. But you look at these memes and it makes it seem like she killed her pimp when most likely she was working for her pimp. Like, whoa, don't people work for their pimps? In killing a John, she was working for her pimp in some twisted manner, robs the dude, and the self-defense angle really... The memes are making it seem like she was getting traded around by people and robbed, and killed the dude she was working for, when most likely she was still on the team. She killed a John. She killed a John who she didn't accuse of whooping her ass or nothing, just met the dude, and she stole some shit from him, including his car. Now, I know stuff gets twisted when the police get involved, so I'm not even gonna say that I necessarily believe all of that, but I gotta say, though, the memes are being dishonest. The way that they read, it makes it seem like she killed a pimp. And this guy that she killed, with the stuff men go through, I don't have a problem with people buying pussy. So I'm just going to let you know, I don't have a problem with it. But this guy made he made two major mistakes. One, if you're going to buy pussy, nowadays where you have the internet, study who you're buying it from. And if you run into somebody who is hella baby-faced, card them. And another thing that makes me think that this might have been a white dude that was killed, which couldn't have helped her out, is that he was carrying a gun on him. Now, people, well, why? One thing I've noticed is that when white men buy pussy, whenever they get involved with any kind of skullduggery, which might involve an armed man, it could even be another armed white man, classified as white. I know nobody's born with a label that says, I'm white. So I've already been over that. I'm not going to qualify that again. And this is for you dudes out there who you don't want to run into child support. You don't want to run into jealous exes. You don't want to run into fake accusations and all that. So you're buying pussy. If you run into somebody that's babyface, first, you should know their babyface beforehand. Card him. He shouldn't have been messing with this girl in the first place. Even if she was 18, it's how you look as much as what you are. Because if you're dealing with somebody that looks 18 and you haven't studied them, you haven't vetted them, you should assume that they're being pimped. Not necessarily it's true all the time, but when there's a baby face on the track, usually she is so marketable that she has a boyfriend pimp. She has somebody that was like, oh, this girl looks cute, I'm gonna hook up with her, and because I'm a low-lifed motherfucker who can't do anything, I'm going to put her on the track. And that's, look, 2017, gorilla pimping is not the business. I don't know what the hell these motherfuckers are doing. This happened a while ago. This wasn't 2017, but still, gorilla pimping hasn't been the business for a while now. It's just the laws are too hard on a pimp. And if you really want a gorilla pimp, go to Vegas where it's legal. There are ways that you can get into the sex business as a man without, and you can actually sell dick to women. That is doable today, because there are plenty of women who are not trying to pay child support their damn self. If they got money, they got stacks, they got ends, they want some side piece, they will pay for it. You know, I wouldn't advise anybody to be a hoe unless you are a complete sex addict. So fellas, I wouldn't even advise you. You know, you'd be sitting there munching some cooch that has a kick to it, and it's not the business. You don't want to do that. Even if you're a freak. But the reason why I'm saying this is we got to be smart. Not that this isn't a worthy cause, because she shouldn't have been tried as an adult. But you can only go by the face value evidence, knowing, the police are going to twist stuff. You know, because one thing I noticed, if you're not looking at the face value evidence, you can't really argue anything. I've seen so many people get shot down trying to argue that Michael Brown was murdered, and they don't even know about the white witnesses who were the first guy to put his hands up was some white dude imitating Michael Brown. So it wasn't like his homeboys were witnesses and saw the shit. It's somebody that didn't even know him, who was just in the area. So the whole argument with Michael Brown is this has to go to trial. You have witnesses who are collaborating with each other. You have witnesses that are being recorded. I mean, this guy's recorded imitating Michael Brown with his hands up, saying he had his fucking hands up. And because people are just going by the face stuff and the memes, they can't even argue when they're right. And if you're talking about Cyntoia Brown, you're probably not right, because she did not kill a pimp. You know, and you can say this pimp was abusing her and all that. More than likely, if she killed a John, she was still on the team. If she robbed him, that money was still going to homeboy. So after she's in jail looking at a case, then she's talking about how shitty her pimp was. Anybody's going to do that. She could have had the coolest pimp in the world. Just to protect herself, she would do that. And most likely she had lousy defense. So it's okay. I hope Cyntoia Brown gets some sort of justice, because she had lousy defense from what I'm seeing. But let's be honest. Most likely this woman was nuts and really shouldn't have killed this dude. You know, the initial reports, the face value reports, is he's shot in his head, his wallet is taken. Okay? To me, it sounds like she was drugged out, still on the team. And since she's underage, we should look at it like, who is she working for? And she should not be tried as anything but an accomplice. And that's another reason why it's not the business to pimp anymore. Because you get a female that goes and robs somebody, they gonna look at you. You're working for him, especially if you're black. You could be buying groceries and just living with the girl, and they'll call you a pimp in certain states. You know what I mean? When in reality, the main people that are pimping are white women, because the main people that put other women in the game are other women. Most hookers in America are white. Let me make that clear. A lot of people don't realize that. Most sex traffickers are white women who meet up with these women in jail, not prison, but when they're doing short time. They meet up with them in jail, and it's like, hey, you know what? We can make a little bit of side money and keep our meth addictions going strong. That is the main people, but the law really isn't trying to come down too hard on female sex traffickers, even though they are the main sex traffickers. Because females are not gorilla pimps typically. Some of them can be very iron-fisted. But typically they're like, okay, this is how the game works. Hit me up with a little bread for teaching you, and then that's it. We're cool. You know what I mean? And it's just like that. So all I'm saying is, y'all are going a little bit too far with these memes, because if you let these memes or memes tell it, it's completely different. If it's she was getting traded around by a bunch of dudes, and then she took out a gun and said enough is enough and shot the first guy who fucking put her on the game. The original guy who was abusing her the most, when in reality, that is not what happened. She killed a John, and a stupid John. Because like I said, fellas, if you're trying to buy the pussy, you do not want to deal with a baby face unless you already know she's been carded. And nowadays, everything's pushed online. It's easy to find out. It's easy to be a little playboy, throwing away your money and tricking it off and having fun instead of getting shot in the head. And I'm thinking, I don't know, it could have been a black dude, but a lot of times white men, they want to carry heat because they don't want to deal with brothers doing something illegal, and then they're left getting robbed. Look, the key to not getting robbed is don't deal with strangers. And don't be, like I said in the previous video, don't lead with your tummy. Don't lead with greed. Don't be thinking hanky-panky before you studied what the hell you're dealing with. And I'm saying that because I know you mess around with a lot of free cooch. A lot of times you'll get caught up in a whole bunch of ratchets. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. I'm glad this is getting attention. I heard about this case a while ago, but let's be honest about it. Most likely she deserved to get some real jail time. She shouldn't have been tried as an adult. It's excessive. They should have taken consideration that she was probably doped out trying to maintain. So that's it. 42 Tribes, peace and justice, kisses, blah, blah, blah. I'm out. Talk to you later.